are you farming? Why are you farming? Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, if we get up into a sort of really big helicopter and look at what's happening for us as people where we are, you can either kind of go out there and believe something, or you can go out there and find out what the science is. And science is this wonderful thing which, you know, enables people to work together on the basis of some kind of rational view of what's going on. And my reading of the science and the experts in their various fields, rather than the politicians or the corporate communicators, who obviously have agendas, either shareholders or electors to please, but the science is that we're facing a double whammy of peak oil. Pessimists say it's already happened, the optimists say it's in the next 20 years, leading to the end of the oil world that we've lived in it, and as we've known it, and as we've been able to use that commodity. And at the same time as that peak coming, we have got this climate change problem, which again, if you look at the balance of the science, says this is a major problem. And then if you add to that double whammy, the triple whammy of the breakdown of ecosystems and the sheer overpopulation of humans that now inhabit the world, or at least it's an overpopulation in the way we treat the world. And then, that was enough to sort of set me off saying, well, maybe we ought to have a look at food and farming. I ought to think about, first of all, my family and what's the future in this sort of predicted world. And wider family and community, and what should I or could I do about it? So why go farming? First of all, agriculture is the foundation of all civilization, all culture. In our sort of small view, myopic, electronic Western world, we forget there's actually 2.8 billion farmers on the planet as we speak, but the most common way of man still making his livelihood, and agriculture unfortunately has turned into agri-business or agro-business, as some sections of society now call it, and that's led to many problems. And I'm rambling on, but I don't know what to make all of this. Those problems are such that I personally, as someone with an agricultural degree, someone who spent a bit of time looking at food and farming before I started this farming enterprise, got to a stage where I wouldn't feed my children on food other than that which is organic, or I've got a really sure real surety of its provenance, and there's more and more people like that. Where are we now in this country when it comes to agriculture? Now, there's some shining examples still there, but the fact is that in the last 30 years 75% of farmers have gone out of business. The average farmer in the UK is now in their 60s. The income to agriculture in the last 30 years has gone down from 6 billion to 2 billion. In contrast that with Tesco's making 3 billion profit last week. That's 200,000 farmers. Make less than Tesco, that's the whole land surface of the UK. So that's some of the whys, I suppose. Whys. Now, whys, that's where, what we're trying to do here is to set out to create a food and farming system that consumes 50% at least less fossil fuel in providing really good food. Because if you look strategically, the government may not be doing a huge amount about it as yet, but our food supply at the moment is based on oil. 50% of the oil going into agriculture is in terms of nitrate fertilisers and pesticides. That's 50% of the fossil fuel input, let alone the diesel, the tractors. It's taking about 13 calories of oil to produce 1 calorie of food. Now, oil's wonderful stuff, but we've used close to half of what was made 200 million years ago, or what have you. Again, all that information is available to anyone on YouTube or on the internet to look up. The water supply is now heavy in nitrates all around the UK, and that's from nitrates mostly put on 40 years ago. It takes 40 years on average for nitrates to get into the groundwater. We have food which is full of all the bad fats rather than the good fats, and that's because animals especially mostly eat cereals, and that leads to more of the bad fats rather than grass-reared animals, which is, you know, kind of natural. You know, and the more we go on, year by year by year, and now week by week by week, the more totally unsustainable the current agricultural and food paradigm is. So that, you know, the system is got to a point where it is so crazy that you know, nutters like me say, well, let's go farming again. Let's see if we can recreate a local food system. Because the current system has been dreadful for farmers, absolutely dreadful. So I think from all parties' point of view, from farmers' point of view, from the general public's point of view, from consumers' point of view, and from the government's point of view, the real cost of this current agriculture is taken into account. It's time to at least try something different, at least try. And so with trying something different, and this system here is a different system where we're trying to produce food from the farm that is retailed locally, ourselves, and processed ourselves, and in conjunction with other local farmers and local producers. You know, in trying to doing that's, you know, it's pioneering, putting it all together. But every element of what we're doing, someone's done before. It's not new, new in that sense. I'm mixing up some of the reasons I started farming a year and a half ago and some of the things that have happened subsequently, and I didn't think there would be a credit crunch and the banks might nearly disappear when we started farming, but hey presto, it has actually worked out that Tim's not as bad as all that, because selling all my peps and ices and putting it into livestock, into my cows, well, the cows have maintained their value anyway. The peps and ices would have been wiped out anyway. So that was a bit of serendipity. Big word that for me, for a farmer's boy. Should we leave it at that? I've bored myself today. Bye.